My dad said prison was loud, screaming, threats, metal doors slamming, but the most dangerous thing in that place was silence. Because in prison, there's one word you never say. Say it once, and you don't get a warning. You get carried out. My dad worked as a prison guard for 25 years. Not a county jail. Not a holding cell. A maximum security prison. The kind of place where men serving life sentences wake up every day knowing they're never going home. Where hope is rare. Where respect is currency. Where fear is law. Growing up, my dad never glorified his job. He never bragged. He never tried to scare us. But sometimes, late at night, after a long shift, he'd sit quietly at the kitchen table and tell stories. Not action movie stories. Not fistfights and riots. Psychological stories. Because prison isn't ruled by strength alone. It's ruled by codes. Unwritten rules that inmates enforce more strictly than the guards ever could. And according to my dad, there were a lot of ugly words spoken inside those walls. But there was one word you never, ever said. Not joking. Not whispering. Not by accident. That word was snitch. Most people know the phrase. Snitches get stitches. Sounds almost cartoonish from the outside. But inside prison? That phrase isn't slang. It's policy. Being labeled a snitch doesn't just mean people don't like you. It means you don't get protection. You don't get help. You don't get mercy. You eat alone. You sleep lightly. And eventually, you get tested. My dad used to say something that stuck with me. Prisoners can forgive violence. They can forgive theft. They can even forgive disrespect. But they never forgive betrayal. And nothing represents betrayal more than being seen as someone who talks to guards. Early in my dad's career, when he was still new, still learning the rhythm of the place, there was one inmate who made his life miserable. Every single day. The moment my dad walked past his cell, it started. Insults. Threats. Graphic comments about his wife. About his kids. Not just trash talk, vile, calculated cruelty. The kind designed to get under your skin. The prisoner wasn't stupid. He knew exactly how far he could go without crossing an official line. And that's what made it worse. My dad couldn't write him up. Couldn't move him. Couldn't retaliate. All he could do was endure it. Day after day. Until frustration turned into something heavier. Resentment. Powerlessness. That quiet rage you feel when someone disrespects you publicly and you're not allowed to respond. One day, after another shift from hell, my dad finally snapped. He pulled aside a veteran officer, a guy who'd been there long enough to survive riots, lockdowns, and things he never talked about. My dad asked him straight. What do I do with this guy? He won't stop. I can't get him in line. The older officer didn't answer right away. He just looked at my dad. Then he smiled. Not a happy smile. A knowing one. And he said, if you really want to get a prisoner's attention, there's one trick that always works. My dad leaned in. The officer continued. Go up to his cell. Pull out your notepad. Start pointing at other cells. Nod your head like you're writing something down. Pause. Then he added. He'll do whatever you want. That was it. No threats. No yelling. No paperwork. Just implication. Because inside prison, the worst thing isn't punishment from guards. It's what other inmates think of you. That night, my dad couldn't stop thinking about it. He replayed the insults. The comments about his family. The humiliation of standing there, powerless. The next day, during rounds, he decided to try it. My dad walked down the cell block. Metal doors. Echoing footsteps. That familiar tension in the air. As expected, the prisoner saw him and immediately went to work. Loud. Vulgar. Over the line. Same routine. My dad didn't react. Instead, he calmly reached into his pocket. Pulled out his notepad. Then his pen. The insults stopped mid-sentence. My dad looked at the inmate, then slowly pointed across the block toward another random cell. He nodded. And said casually, "Oh really? Him?" And started writing. My dad said the transformation was instant. The man's face drained of color. The bravado vanished. The predator became prey. He leapt off his bed and rushed to the cell door, gripping the bars like his life depended on it. Because in his world, it did. His voice dropped to a whisper. Not tough. Not loud. Terrified. Please stop. I'll do anything. I won't say anything anymore. Please, please. No more insults. No more threats. Just fear. Pure, animal fear. My dad closed the notepad. Put the pen away. And walked on. No lecture. No warning. No follow-up. He never had to say another word. From that day forward? Not a single issue. The prisoner wouldn't even look at him. Wouldn't speak. Wouldn't breathe too loudly when my dad passed. Because my dad didn't punish him. He reminded him of the code. And in prison, the code is everything. My dad used to say something else too. Real power isn't loud. It doesn't need fists or threats. It just needs understanding. That day, he learned prison wasn't controlled by locks and bars. It was controlled by fear of what others believe about you. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button. Drop a comment below. What's the most terrifying unspoken rule you've ever heard of? And don't forget to subscribe to Story X Daily for more real stories where justice doesn't scream. It whispers.